Raindrops! Welcome back to the channel. I am Desiree, the owner of Rainy Days Library, and I have an obsession with books. If you couldn't tell. I realized that I hardly ever start my YouTube videos with introducing myself, but I probably should because I know that I get new followers and probably people who just land on my channel and just watch the video. So hi, I am Desiree. I am newly 20 years old and I am the owner of the company named Rainy Days Library, the same name as this channel. And basically I started off as just a blind date with a book business, but now it's so much more than just that. It's also the social media platforms that I've kind of blown up. But I'm not here to talk too much about that. If you want to know more about me and my business, I can definitely make a video just talking about me and my business. But today we are here to talk about the 7 books that I read in August. I was very close to saying April. I don't know why I always have the urge to say April. It's not April, Desiree, it's August. I am recording this on August 28th, and I am currently reading a book, and I'm almost halfway done. And so I don't know if by the end of the month I will have finished it or not, but I don't think I will because I am insanely busy this week because I am moving back to university. I'm moving back to my university apartment. It will be the last video with this background because I am going back to my apartment, and so I'll try to make like a nice background for when I'm back there. Also, I desperately need a haircut. This hair is not a vibe. Why was I so close to the camera? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I was probably in your personal space. Let me just back up a little bit here. Okay, there you go. Now you have your personal space again. Sorry about that. Anywho, we're just going to talk about the books that I read in August. If you've watched my other reading wrap-up videos, you know the drill. I basically just show the book and talk about it. So that's what we're going to be doing. All right, get yourself a snack, get yourself some water. We've got 7 good books to talk about. And actually, what is going to be very special today, I have a book that I have rated under 3 stars for the first time in a very I'll start talking about the books and we'll talk about that one when we get there. The first book that I read in August was All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This is easily one of my favorite books ever. Let's talk about the tropes first, shall we? It is enemies to lovers, small town romance, grumpy sunshine, single parent. He is a single dad, but oh my god, their family story is so great. And I don't even have... I need to think a little. I need to gather my thoughts. It's so funny. It's so sweet. I say those 2 things very, very often when I like a book. It's funny and it's sweet. But those are 2 things that I really, really, really value in a book. Like, I need a book to make me laugh. Unless I'm really looking for a book to make me cry, then that's a different scenario. But in this case, it made me cry. It made me laugh. It made me giggle. It made me so very, very happy. Such a great story. So basically, Aurora goes back to the small town where she grew up because she just divorced her husband, and so she wants to go back there to kind of get over that, but she also wants to get closer to her mom because her mom died when Aurora was a teen, and it's because her mom went hiking and she didn't take the trail that she said she was going to take, and she somehow got lost, and they have not found her. Even, like, still, when Aurora is an adult and going back to that small town, they still haven't found her body. Anyways, so she rents the apartment at the top of, like, a garage, you know, like garage apartments. So she rents that place, and when she gets there, you know, she goes upstairs, she starts settling in, and then she hears footsteps. And she thinks, oh, it's probably the owner of the Airbnb just coming to say hi or check in. And then Tobias Rhodes, this hunk of a man, just enters the room and he's like, what are you doing in my house? And then his son, Amos, runs from downstairs and he says, Dad, yo, wait a minute. I'm the one who rented the space. And his dad is like, what? And Amos says, like, well, how am I supposed to get the guitar I want if you won't let me get a job and I need money to buy the guitar? When I tell you I love that kid with my entire heart, oh gosh, I love him so much. So you get this story where Aurora really needs that place, and Tobias, or Rhodes, he prefers to go by Rhodes, really doesn't want to rent the place, but then they come to an agreement. Aurora stays. They're next door neighbors. He is such a grump, okay? Like, such a grump. But Aurora gets a few laughs and smiles out of him, and it's so heartwarming. Oh, I swear. You know when you read about a character who's so grumpy, it's so rare that you see them laugh or smile. Well, see them, you know, see them in your mind because you're reading a book. But, you know, when it's so rare that they're in a good mood or, you know, smiling or laughing, and then you get them to laugh or smile, it's so rewarding. It's so heartwarming. It's so amazing. And Mariana Zapata, I've talked about The Wall of Winnipeg and Me in my last reading wrap-up, I think. But I also talk about, like whenever I'm reading a book, I talk about it a lot on my Instagram stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram yet, you can definitely do that. I talk about the books I read a whole bunch on there. And I love this so very much. I rated it infinity stars. Yes, it's a big book. I read this in... I'm tempted to say that I read it in 2 days. Did I read it in 2 days? It's either 2 or 3. I always finish Mariana Zapata books in 2 or 3 days, unless I'm insanely busy. Like right now I'm reading another one by MZ, and I'm just so busy getting ready, you know, like packing, and I also have a full week of tutoring and getting ready to go back to school. Well, university, same thing. So I'm not as, you know, I don't have as much time to read, but I read them so fast because they're so good. Her writing is honestly... I talked about this book in another one of my videos where I recommended top 10 small town romance books, and I said that her writing is so real, and I still stand by that. It's so real. It's not like... It's not overly embellished. It's relatable. And I mean, of course, it's a romance book. It's fiction. So of course there are some things that are tweaked, but it's always like you can find the truth in her books, and it's so amazing. It's so good. So like I said, infinity stars for this one. The next book that I read was The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez. I was pleasantly shocked to hear that the author of this book was a Food Channel, what's it called? A Food Network champion. Okay, when I was a kid, my mom's a chef, so we would watch Food Network all the time. Okay, yes, I loved Barbie. I loved watching the Barbie movies, but watching Food Network was like a whole other level for me. Just hearing about it still brings me immense joy and just comfort. So it was so fun. Just like, oh yeah, she was a Food Network champion. You know, what are the odds? This book, oh gosh, it's not my usual like thing because this is insta love, very like big time. Okay, so Sloane is just getting out of a very, very tough patch in her life. 2 years ago, she lost her fiance. He died in a motorbike accident. And she's just kind of getting out of that bubble of grief. And, you know, she wouldn't leave the house as often, and it was a very, very rough patch. And one day she's in her car and she's at a red light, and there's not even, how does it go again? There's a dog that runs in the street, and she hits the brakes and she thinks that she hit him. But then she gets out and the dog is totally fine, and then he jumps on her car, and then he jumps through the, what's that called in English again? The window at the top of the car that you can open. The dog jumps through that and he lands on her lap. So she takes that as a sign. She loves the dog. She keeps the dog until like she sees the dog has a necklace, and she tries calling his owner, who is Jason, who is like a pretty well-known musician. She's also kind of in love with his music, but she doesn't know that it's him. And so she tries calling him, but he's traveling, and now when he's in Australia, he gets the messages and he calls her, and at first she's like, no, I won't give you back the dog. I won't give him back. And then he says, but I love him, he's my dog. And she says, prove to me that you love him, and then I'll give him back. And so he proves that he loves him. And he says, would you mind keeping Tucker, the dog, until I get back from traveling? She says fine, and then they talk every single day. And when he gets back, they meet, and it's just like he's completely in love with her, and she's pretty much like in love with him, but she's still like, you know, she feels like she's cheating on her fiance by feeling these feelings for Jason. But it's hard for her to get through that. And so this is a very emotional book, and it's not slow burn, but like they get into their relationship like right away, but they have a lot of rough patches to get through. And like she tries going on tour with him, and oh lord, whole situation over there. It's rather emotional. It did take me a little while to read this just because it wasn't as fast as I had expected it to be, and that's not a bad thing. I am the kind of person who does enjoy it when the book like picks up right away. I don't really like reading 200 pages to actually get somewhere in the book or to like hit an interesting spot, but I like what I found about this book is that it's slow, but like let's say I'm reading, oh gosh, this is slow, and then I hit a really good spot, and then I would expect the good spot to like keep going, but then it gets back to slow, and then it hits a good spot, and then it gets back to slow. Do you know what I mean? That's how I experienced reading this. It's not a bad thing. It is not. It just wasn't what I was expecting. But truly, it was so sweet. Jason, like, this man is head over heels for Sloane, okay? Borderline obsessed with her. Like, not in a bad sense, in a good sense, if that makes sense. But definitely recommend it if you're looking for something that is sweet, but that will still make you sob, because this does get emotional. And of course, check the trigger warnings because it's slightly heavy. I wasn't expecting it to be this emotional and like a bunch of stuff happening in it. I was just, you know, it's a cartoon cover. I was expecting it to be sweet, funny, nothing like, oh my actual gosh, but there are a lot of like, you will put your hand to your heart a couple of times. But definitely recommend it if you're looking for something that is sweet yet will make you feel stuff. After that, this is the book that I did not rate too highly. I feel like I should not be rating it right now because I keep hesitating between 2.5 stars to 3 or 3.5. Like I'm not entirely sure. And I am rather sad about it because this was the Tabby's Annotating Book Club book for the month of August, as seen on TV by Meredith Score. And people say that it's full of Gilmore Girls vibes. There are a little bit of Gilmore Girls vibes, but, okay. I'm gonna get the negative stuff out of the way first, because I don't necessarily like to be negative if I can avoid it. But, I am always here to be completely honest with you guys, so this is my genuine, honest review for this book. Does not mean that it will be the same for you, right? So give it a shot if you want to. But I found that this was like a next level of unrealistic, if that makes sense. It was also insanely negative. Like the main character, Adina, she lives in New York City with her mom, and like they have the great Lorelai-Rory relationship that I absolutely loved, okay? Their relationship was amazing. It was great. It was sweet. But then she gives a pitch to like the head editor at a magazine, and she gives the pitch saying like, I'm gonna go to this small town because I saw it on the news. They're building like a huge apartment complex, and I'm gonna go there and talk about how it's like a Hallmark movie and how the people of the town are like, no, we don't want that building being built. You're gonna ruin our town. You know, basically like every Hallmark movie. And so she sends the pitch without ever going to said small town, which right there, that's the first, like, would you really do that in real life? Like, would you give a pitch without even knowing what this small town is? Like, common sense would be to go see the small town before giving the pitch to ensure that you can actually write the article. But Adina was like, nope, I'm doing it, let's go. And then she gets to the small town and she is insanely disappointed because the people are rude and mean and they're not like a movie. Well, right there you have your confirmation, life is not a movie, right? And I know that's slightly controversial because we read books to escape reality, we read books to, you know, get into a fictional world, but this is like contemporary romance where like it's set in like the real world, like, you know, New York City and actual cities. It's not fantasy. So you would expect to be some kind of realistic aspect to it. But Adina is so set on like, it's a small town, it has to be like a Hallmark movie. It has to, but it's not. And even after she realizes that it's not, she's still set on finding the Hallmarkness in the town when there is none because it's real life. And so she meets the guy that is working under like the big boss for the new apartment complex. And they kind of like, those two are like they're the main romance aspect of the book, but their relationship was just, I'll be blunt, I did not like it. I always hate, I hate being negative. Like I said, if I can avoid it, I will avoid it. I just did not like it. Like, I think it was meant to be some kind of enemies to lovers. But it was, like, I don't even have words to properly describe it. It was, first and foremost, it was kind of toxic. Second off, like, they kept making it feel like there was a bunch of chemistry, but I could not find like a drop of chemistry no matter how hard I looked for it. I hate being like this. Okay, like I said, I'm getting the bad out of the way. So the relationship did not sell the book for me. I did kind of like the family aspect of it, although there wasn't all that much family aspect to it. See, like, that is why I'm more towards rating this a 2.5 stars, because I didn't really enjoy the writing itself. But I do know some people who rated this 5 stars, and I know some people who rated it 4 stars. So you see, it all depends on the person. There are a few like swoon-worthy moments in the book. Like, I mean, I annotated it, and there are a few bits where I say swoon, but there are a whole lot I'm like, that came out of nowhere. Like, what kind of attention will this article get? It's not exactly well written. I'm scared she'll get hate if she posts that, but you know, maybe not, you know, still trying to be open-minded. And there is a lot of like modern day aspects to it, like saying, I think you slayed it. Like, I know people say like, okay, slay, like people say that in real life, but to see it in a book, for me, it's just like, oh my god, no, why is real life following me into my world of fiction? Why? No, go away. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. I would recommend, like, if you are open to reading digital books, I would recommend starting this digitally first to see if you actually like it. Because, like, I push through it. I rarely do not finish, like, DNF, do not finish my books, so I push through it. Mostly because I'm looking forward to the conversation that I'm gonna have with my book club members. But it was not for me. Unfortunately, it was just, it didn't do it. I went in with very high expectations. Probably shouldn't have. I usually try to avoid having high expectations for a book if I can help it. But I had very high expectations for this because I love Gilmore Girls with my entire heart. And, like, I have a tattoo for Gilmore Girls, so you can see the meaning that it holds to me. Yeah. I'm sorry. So we're gonna say 2.5 stars for this one. But, you know, I always tell you guys, do not knock it until you try it. So if you want to give this a book, do not get discouraged because I did not like it. Like I keep saying, there is no such thing as, like, shaming someone for their taste in books or saying, like, your taste is wrong, I am right. All the things I say about books are the only correct things to say about books. If you don't like a book I love, Shame on you. No. We're not the same person, right? We all have different tastes. So I didn't really like it. It wasn't my cup of tea, and that is fine. It might be yours. Maybe you'll need to add a little bit of sugar into it. Who knows? No one, unless you try it. So that's what I'm gonna say for that one. And then, to get myself out of a slump after reading that, I read another Mariana Zapata book. Oh my good gods, was this ever good? Holy crap. There's a reason this went viral on TikTok. Okay, I tell you. The enemies to lovers. Oh my god. Oh, I don't even have words for this. I will try to refrain from saying too much, because read it. Oh my god, just read it, because I don't want to spoil any good thing about it. But basically, Jasmine, they are two very, very well-known figure skaters, like professional. And Jasmine just lost her partner because she figure skates in pairs, and she lost her partner. And then Ivan Lukov, who is the big brother of Jasmine's kind of best friend, pretty much, yeah, her best friend. He also, like, he has been going through a lot of different partners, and his current partner, like, they're not together anymore. And so they approached Jasmine with a deal that they want her to be Ivan's partner for a year. And, like, the competitions are, like, right around the corner. So what is going on with my hair? Okay, geez. So, you know, they decide to do it, but they kind of, like, Jasmine can't stand him. And they are the kind, like, they see each other, and right away they'll start throwing insults at each other. But Ivan technically has been waiting his entire life to be paired up with Jasmine. Okay, so it's kind of the situation where he is a jerk to her, but he fell first. And hard. Like, hella hard, okay? And oh my god, it's so sweet. Oh, it's so sweet. It's oh my god. When they decide to actually, like, behave themselves and, like, be friends, it's so sweet. Oh my god, it's so sweet. I need a tattoo for this. I need one. It's official. I need one. I need to find one of my favorite quotes and perhaps send a message to Mariana Zapata and say, like, hi, would you mind writing this, like, this line in your handwriting, and I will get it tattooed on my body because I love it so much. Oh, it's like, you know how I can't possibly say, like, one book is my absolute favorite, but this is at the top. Okay, like, okay, we all know Small Favors is my #1. I love it. We love it. It's amazing. But this is definitely at the top 5. It's so good. He takes care of her when she's sick. She's kind of a grump. There's the element of family in this book is truly amazing. I am a huge family person, okay? I have a rather big family, but they all live far from where I am. Well, far. See, like, we're not next door neighbors. Like, we have to drive a couple hours to see each other. And when we do see each other, it's always so great. It's so great to be with family. I'm very close to my parents. I am very lucky to have a good relationship with them. And so to read this and see that Jasmine has a very good relationship with her mom, like, you'll get to a point where Jasmine talks about the way that she sees herself in her family, and it will make you cry. At least it made me cry, because I'm very family oriented. But she loves them all so much. And it's, oh my god. And Ivan, that man is so in love with her. Like, oh my actual gosh, so good. I rated this infinity because duh, obviously. Again, so funny, so sweet. There's a photo shoot and they're both naked and they're on the ice. That was, I didn't know how I was gonna feel about that. Yeah, there's something that Ivan says when he sees Jasmine for the first time. And it's just one word, and it'll make you lose your mind, because it made me lose my mind. I threw the book across the room. Oh my god. I recorded a read with me for a part of this book. I will link it. Again, I never know if it's here or here. The screens are inversed. Anyways, I will link it if you want to watch it and see my reactions to parts of this book, because oh, it was so good. Oh my god. If I could read a book for the first time again, this would definitely be one of them. Truly so amazing. And my annotating system was so pretty. You can't see much. Okay, and then I read, this one was so good. This is Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. If you know me, you know I love Things We Never Got Over, again by Lucy Score. This is my second book by her, and oh my god, was it ever good. Again, I talked about this in my small town romance book recs. This is a combination of Mr. Kate on YouTube and Gilmore Girls. So basically Maggie has a YouTube channel where she buys really old houses, she revamps them completely. She tells, like on her YouTube channel, while she's renovating, she tells the story of the house, of the town or the city where the house is. She makes it amazing, and then she sells it, and then she moves on, right? Maggie moves on, she moves on to her next property. And then she gets to this huge mansion, okay, ginormous, like 19 bedrooms, something like that, in a very, very small town called Kinship. And when she gets there, she hires a landscaper called Silas. I know that in my small town romance video, I called him Silas. That's because the French was kicking in. I'm pretty sure you say his name like Silas. I don't know. I do know his nickname is Cy, so we're going to call him Cy for now, okay? And Cy, the first time he sees her, he literally says, wow. And then do you know what he calls her to his family? Because this book is also insanely family-oriented. It's so amazing. He calls her his future wife, okay? So you can tell this is also insta-love, but oh boy did I ever love it. I tell you, Lucy Score is like the queen of small town romances. Along with Mariana Zapata, All Roads Lead Here truly hit the spot. It's always so funny, like it's so funny, and the spice is so good. So in here, like Maggie does not want to fall in love, she's not staying in Kinship, so she doesn't want to get any, you know, strings attached. And so Cy is like, you know, you're gonna fall in love with me. I'm betting you $5 you're staying and you're falling in love with me, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, it's so good. I don't want to say too much because it would be spoiling all the fun of it, but truly it's so funny, it's spicy, it's like friends with benefits. There's a great banter, amazing attraction. Oh my god, I can't recall, 5 stars or infinity, one or the other. Truly such a good book. I don't know why it took me so long to read it. It was honestly amazing. And then the next book, it was a Colleen Hoover book. I have not read Coho in so long, but I read Heartbones, and I read it in 2 days. And I was not expecting to like this book so much or to get through it so fastly. So fast. I think I'm tired. Anyways, this story is of Bea, and Bea, like her mom's an addict. She comes from a life of poverty and neglect, and like her dad wasn't really in the picture, but that was mostly because of misunderstandings. And so when something happens, Bea ends up going to live with her father and his new wife, and his wife also had a daughter, and Bea and her stepsister become like best friends. It's a great friendship, okay? At first I was kind of hesitant of the situation here, but they become best friends. It's so great. And then the boy next door, Samson, who is like the rich boy, they also like they just connect, okay? And they told themselves they're just gonna have fun for the summer because they're both leaving in August and they don't want to get their hearts broken, you know, they don't want to go to college and be in a relationship and be long distance and blah blah blah. But it is so much more than just that. Like, it's Colleen Hoover, okay? Who are we kidding? Of course it's gonna be more than just like a fun summer fling. It's so much more than that. It's about true love. It's about creating a relationship with family. Again, you can tell I'm very family oriented. I almost knocked myself out with the book. Oh my god. Okay. Check the trigger warnings for this because it's definitely not one of her heaviest. It's probably one of her lightest books, but it still has a little bit of heft to it. Okay. So definitely check that. Check the triggers. But like at first, her writing in this book is not exactly, like, it's rather similar to Ugly Love, you know, it's not like anything poetic or very, I guess, inspiring, I will say, but as you keep on reading, you will find more stuff. Like, very, very easy quotes. One thing that I've realized with Colleen Hoover is that her writing is surprisingly easy to read. Some people make it out to be like this very poetic and like super high literature type of stuff, but it's really just like the topics that she writes about are very, very heavy. They're very real, they're very unembellished, They're very transparent. But her actual writing, like the way she writes, the words she chooses, they're not hard to understand. So if you are a beginner, or if you're just getting into reading and you are comfortable with the topics that Colleen Hoover writes about, I really, really strongly recommend her because her writing is easy to understand. Like, don't get into classics if you're a beginner and not comfortable with, you know, that type of fancy literature. If you're a beginner, start with something that's easy. So definitely Colleen Hoover, I recommend it. I rated this 5 stars. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Truly, it's a perfect summer read. And even if it's like, you know, the summer is basically over, you can still read it and really enjoy it. It's so, so good. And definitely easy and fast to read. And then the last book that I read in August, oh my god, this is it's easily one of my favorite romance books. I will say, like, the subjects, what is talked about in this book is very heavy, similar to It Ends With Us. So beware if you're not comfortable with that. I would, you know, avoid this book. But oh my god, it was so good. This is Meet Me Halfway by Lillian T. James. The reason why I bought this is because I saw someone on TikTok post about it. Because there is a layout of the main character's apartments on the front, like the first couple of pages here. We have the female main character and then the male main character's apartment. Because Madison and Garrett are next door neighbors living in a duplex. And so Madison is a single mom of an 8-year-old boy. She got pregnant when she was 16. The dad is out of the picture. She married a guy who was very, very toxic and abusive. So that is one of the heavier topics in this book. It's literally like right after the maps, the triggers are here. There's an author's note, includes all of the very, very sensitive topics that are talked about in this book. So check the triggers before you buy or read it. But basically this is funny, it's spicy, it's slow burn, next door neighbors, grumpy sunshine. He pretty much falls first. Like, at first it's just like attraction and then it becomes love. He's super defensive and protective, touch her you die type of stuff. They become great friends. He absolutely loves her kid and her kid loves him. And she has such a great best friend. She has great parents, again, family. The dogs in this book, so adorable. The cover also, it's like, look, the door, and then there's a note because she just moved into the other side of the duplex a couple weeks back. And she works like 3 or 4 jobs. She has a kid and she's also going to university. And she takes her classes at night and she plays music. And she shares a bedroom wall with Garrett, her neighbor. And someone that night knocks at the door, and when she opens it, she sees that there's a note on the door which exactly says, "Some of us are adults with jobs and need sleep. Be more considerate and turn down your music," which is literally what's written on this teeny tiny note. It's what I just read right now. And that's actually what is written, like, when you get to that point in the book. It's truly, oh Lord, look at all the pretty tabs. Truly such a good book. I read this in either 2 or 3 days. When I read a book in 2 or 3 days, it's because I really, really love it. I can't read probably any book in 2 or 3 days, but I have more ease to do it if I really, really love the book. If I just kind of like the book, I'm just doing this with my water bottle, sorry. I will probably read it in like a week if I'm busy. It all depends. I don't know, I'm a weird reader. But this was Infinity Stars. So good. Oh my god. And is that it? Yeah, that's actually it. Like I said, I'm currently reading another Mariana Zapata book, but I don't think I'm gonna finish it in time. It's probably like, I'll probably finish it in September, like probably September 1st or something. Can you believe the summer's already over? I am again in your personal space. I'm so sorry. Can you believe that the summer's already over? Like, I just turned 20 last Wednesday. Crazy, I know. And now it's already like I'm moving back to my university apartment in exactly a week. I'm getting nostalgic. Yeah. I'm gonna need to pack my books. I'm not bringing all of them. That would be absolutely insane. I don't have enough space for that. I was looking at them. My apartment back in my university town, whoa, that is like tiny. Like tiny. It's really, really small. So I hardly have enough space to like store my books. So I really need to wisely choose which books are coming with me and which ones are staying here. But yes, that was all for today's video. I am planning a few changes to the business during the school year because I want to be able to focus on school a little bit more this year. I'm not saying I'm closing or anything. Don't worry. And you'll hear more from me on Instagram, on TikTok. I just kind of want to take social media a little bit more seriously because it has actually turned into an actual career. Not just YouTube, like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of them have actually turned into a real career for me, which I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be sitting down talking to myself so that I could post this on the internet saying that I'm taking social media seriously because it's a job, it's a career. Yet here I am. And it actually is. And it's so fun because I get to talk about books. I get to talk about great apps. I don't know, I just get to have fun, do stuff that I used to love as a kid and still love now. And I just, personally, that is what I want to do. I want to focus on social media a little bit more. The business is still gonna be there, but it's just gonna, you know, take a little twist. Things are gonna change. It's been over a year that I've been open. I wanna change things up, and that's what I have decided to do. And that's what I feel good doing. So that is what I'm doing. And I am so very grateful to have you there. Anyways, all of that to say that I read some pretty good books this month, and I can't wait to see what the next month will be. I can't wait to share with you guys what's going to be happening with the business, what's going to be going on. I have a bunch of video ideas for the next, you know, for the school year, more like study with me videos and study tips and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. I have some stuff to do. I've been here way longer than I had planned. That happens often. Anyways, thank you for listening. I hope you like the books. Make sure to click the little bell if you want to be notified whenever I post new content. That is it. That is all. I'm gonna go, and I will see you guys in the next one.